Good afternoon. Welcome to the Vicon booth. My name is Andy Ray. I'm the sales director for Vicon. I operate for everywhere outside the Americas. I'm very lucky that my counterpart Jeff Ravaggi over there has let me have the mic because he would normally have this. So I can't give you the LA flair, I can give you the kind of classic British Oxford conservative description. I will try and give you some razzmatazz because I've had some beer, so we'll see how we get on. But look, you're here for the second demonstration of the second day, where we are demonstrating the classic mocap pipeline. Early in the day, we've been demonstrating virtual production techniques using the virtual camera, and this is the box cut down here, so if you haven't seen that yet, do come again and see it tomorrow. But we figured that everyone likes to see what is motion capture. And so this next session for the next 30 minutes is where we're going to talk you through who we are, what we do, and give you a nice little mocap demonstration with our great actress here, Veronica, who's joined us. And I must point out, I'm joined by the Vicon team, where we have over here the brain bar, we have Mitch and James and Connor, and Marissa is joining us. She's going to give you the real detailed demonstration. So I give you the sales waffle, Marissa gives the real detail. And we also have Jeff, which we've met, he's giving the mic, and Jason in the corner. That is the Vicon team. And of course Alicia here is also recording us live on some kind of Insta Live probably. And so just make sure we get this in. There is a free bar tonight. Come and get the details from us later. It's the Vicon party. So let's get cracking. What you'll see in front of you is a motion capture stage. On this motion capture stage we have 10 of the Vicon Vantage cameras, and they are being operated by Vicon Shōgun, which you can see on the main screen behind me. Give a bit of history about this. Vicon Shōgun is currently in version 1.7, but it's on the back end of third platform. We've had a Vicon IQ, we've had Vicon Blade, and now we're in Vicon Shōgun. That's 3 generations of software where we're really pushing forward how we make things work so super well in this motion capture world. So this version has got all our history and experience really put into Vicon Shōgun. Well, what does that mean? What are we trying to put into this platform? Well, everyone hears virtual production at least 25 times a day. And what does that mean? It's about real time. It's about creative direction, ability to see things and make creation on the fly. So Vicon had very good real time before, but it's how fast we can make that. So when we looked at Shōgun, how we can improve things, we weren't going to change. We were going to track markers, we were going to use cameras, we're going to record data, but let's make sure we can do that faster. And that's what Marissa is going to show us as part of her demonstration. But if we just talk about the hardware for a second, so you can make sure we talk about what's in front of you. The 10 Vantage cameras, these are a 5 megapixel variant. We have a 5, an 8, and a 16. These are bespoke Vicon sensors that are made specifically for us, and that's sat behind a Vicon lens. Again, we have 2 premium lenses that we use in this range. Now, appreciate there are other vendors in the world that operate in the passive marker world, passive optical mocap world. However, what makes Vicon different? Well, we're surrounded by cameras that can really bring intelligence to the motion capture volume. If anyone else has operated the mocap stage before, or maybe seen a few sales demonstrations, especially salespeople are liable for going and knocking cameras as you walk past them. When you knock a camera in a calibrated world, that makes everyone go mad. And they want to make sure they've got to recalibrate because that event has taken place. I can't get away with that anymore without someone knowing, because now if I go past the camera and I knock it, give it a little tap, it's going to tell me it's got a bump detection. On the thing, there we go, nice little blink. And that's telling me I'm bumped. And I've got a nice little OLED display on the front telling me I'm bumped. That's because it's got an embedded inertial sensor inside there telling us that that event has taken place. So you can imagine all around the rig, we can see that every single camera is seen, and we see also they fixed it live very quickly. Support team, thank you very much, Melissa. So we've also got on there a temperature sensor. Why do we have a temperature sensor? Well, we're doing things at 17 micron precision inside this camera, and that's because we calibrate the intrinsics of the camera as well as the extrinsics of the camera when we wave our wand around. Why do we do that? Well, electronics warm up. Electronics have a premium operating temperature. If you've got that camera underneath air conditioning or next to a heat source, you could be causing damage to your calibration and you don't know about it. So just putting these 2 little bits of intelligence on board the camera really does give the engineers the ability to monitor what's going on. So when you're doing your motion capture world and you're capturing data, if you don't know about that, it could be your data drifting off in a very bad way and you don't know about it till it's too late. So we bring that to you on the camera and live and streamed into the platform. So that gives you an idea of the cameras. I'm going to go not too much detail with Shōgun. I'm now going to hand the mic to Marissa, who's going to give you the detail on Shōgun. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. All right, so today we kind of want to highlight some of the new features that came with the release of Shōgun 1.7. So the first thing we want to show you guys is the live subject calibration. We're always working on improving that, and now it's faster and easier than ever before. So we'll go ahead and we already have Veronica ROM'd in here and calibrated, but we're going to go ahead and create her as a new subject to show you guys how quickly that process is. So Mitchell over there is going to go ahead and set up a new subject for me, and let's see if we are ready for that. All right, so right now we just have our marker cloud, and we're going to go ahead and ask Veronica to go into her A pose for me. And we will start our creation. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our ROM. James, would you lead her through the ROM, please? So with the range of motion for calibration, what we're looking to try to do is get movement at each of the joints of the body. And you'll notice that as we start to go through this range of motion, that solving skeleton, the white bones, are kind of snapping into place. They're trying currently to figure out where they best fit inside of her individual specific marker cloud. So that's why we see some of those bones popping around. Once we finish the subject calibration, it should be kind of settled into a correct position and won't be jumping around so much anymore. Beautiful. All right. So we can do a couple demos of what that looks like now that we have this lovely solving skeleton. Veronica, would you like to do a backflip for me? Lovely. Awesome. Okay, so we're also going to do a quick capture, and we'll show you what it looks like when we can also do like a quick instant replay. So I think if Mitch is ready, we'll have Veronica start in an A pose, and then we'll do the worm. All right, action. So we also have a great occlusion fix, so you can see that even though we're occluding a lot of the markers on the front of Veronica, we're getting that unbreakable solve, which is awesome. One of the other great features of Shōgun in general, and we are continuing to improve as we go, is our high fidelity finger solve. So we are the only optical motion capture provider that has a native finger solve. So we do have Veronica in a 53 marker setup, but we also have added 20 extra markers to her fingers. So one of the great features of this is we can include a prop that she can interact with. And we can interlace her fingers through that mug handle, and so we get that 3D that matches what we're seeing in the real world. And that solve is really great. So if I can have Veronica dip her fingers in. So even though we're occluding those markers entirely, we're not losing that solve as we go. So that's pretty incredible. And then what we can do, Mitch, if you want to go ahead and we can show that review, that replay of the worm that Veronica did. So we see all of the captures that we've collected in our review panel there, and we can get that instant replay. We can play back through that clip. We can also scrub through it, and we can check to see how well that take went, and scrub back and forth with that. Very challenging, to do it backwards. A couple of the other features that we wanted to highlight with Shōgun 1.7 is some of our camera calibration improvements. So one of the things that we can do is we can add in a new camera to an already calibrated system without having to calibrate the entire system all over again. So with something like a 10 or 11 camera system, it's not that big of a deal to recalibrate the entire system, but when you see some of these virtual production stages that have 60 plus cameras, that can take quite some time. So now we're able to select a specific camera and calibrate just that selected camera into an existing system. So what Mitchell has done over here is we've unplugged camera 11, and then we've also removed it entirely from our system panel. So when it comes back into the system, it's going to come up, instead of a green play button, which is an indication that the camera is connected to the system and calibrated, now we have this blue cyan icon, which means that the camera is plugged in, the system recognizes it, and it's not calibrated. So currently, we can go ahead and do, Veronica, I'll have you step out here for me, please. James is going to give that camera that we just plugged in another camera wave. Or, I'm sorry, not a camera wave, a wand wave. So again, this process is fairly quick, and we're focusing primarily on that one camera. We are now calibrated. And if we go back to our 3D overlay, Veronica, I'll have you come back into the space here. When we have that camera selected, and we have the camera rays turned on, we can verify that that camera is now seeing all of these markers on Veronica. To tie in with this, adding a new optical camera into the system, we can now also calibrate SDI cameras. So we can get a 4K camera coming in to show a 3D overlay. So we'll go ahead and show you guys what that looks like to calibrate that camera. I think Veronica will have you kind of stand over here again once more for me. James is going to go ahead and give the SDI camera some wand waves. Oh, I might need to remask it. So the process is very similar to calibrating. We're doing a wand wave for an optical camera. We're just trying to get that SDI camera to see some wand waves to be able to calibrate it in and integrate it with our optical camera system. And once we're able to get this integrated into our system, we can use this SDI camera as a very high quality reference camera. You can see how well the 3D overlay lines up with the real world view that you're seeing. Okay, go ahead and step back in here a little. So now we can see that 3D overlay of her skeleton and her markers just as we would see it in the real world. You can see the finger markers, you can see how well everything kind of lines up there. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over to, I'll go ahead and speak real quick to, we can now also import static meshes. So Connor took a quick LiDAR scan of our booth here, and we're able to drop that FBX into our scene. So it gives your actors a better context of where prop pieces are in the scene. So also, for example, we have this rock in the scene, so Ron can sit down on our stool. You can use that to sort of block out set pieces and things like that during filming. All right, so we are going to go over a few other features here. One of the great things about Shōgun is that we have a native retargeting feature. So we've actually already set up a retarget for Veronica. Again, you guys have seen that white skeleton, which is her solving skeleton. When we also add in the retarget, that's going to come up as a pink skeleton. And this is the skeleton that's going to be able to be streamed out of Shōgun Live and straight into a game engine like Unreal. So we don't have to go Shōgun Live into Motion Builder, do the retarget in Motion Builder, and then stream it into Unreal Engine. We're able to stream straight from Shōgun Live into Unreal. All right, Veronica, if you wouldn't mind getting up for me. So here we have Veronica's character here. And you can bring in any custom character that you have. You can perform that retarget, set up that retarget in Shōgun Post, and then you're able to save that retarget and bring it into live. So you can apply that and see that retarget happening in real time. Let's go ahead and do some more. Do you want to do another backflip for us? Awesome. Beautiful. All right, I think those are all the features that we kind of wanted to cover in Shōgun 1.7. I'm going to hand it back over to Andy, and he's going to discuss some exciting future products here.
Awesome again, Marissa. Great demonstration. Perfect again, Veronica. Thank you very much. So, we talked how this morning we were doing a demonstration of virtual production using a virtual camera, otherwise known as single cam in this world. But our great friends at Row, who we should acknowledge is a great loan for their beautiful screen behind us. But the demonstration they've got going on there is a technique for virtual production called InCamera VFX, IC-VFX, made very famous by the making of The Mandalorian, by our great friends Industrial Light and Magic. And what we've been trying to do in this space is on these big stages, they face really quite high-level tracking problems. Now what that might be, we're in a nice GDC expo here where we've got lots of lights, lots of interference that come in. But these big stages for the likes of Pixelmondo and ILM, they have SFX taking place on these stages as well, such as fire, such as mist, smoke. These can all wreak havoc on a tracking system. Now, Vicon's optical system really does handle those situations quite well, which is why we're the tool of choice for those things. But sometimes you can block every single marker. What we've done for around here, Veronica, I'm walking around her and she's still solving really quite well. But what can happen in an IC-VFX stage is that you'll have furniture on side there, such as a spaceship, or a door, or a tree, or some kind of cave that they'll bring in front of that stage that can totally occlude the hero camera. And so what we've been working on at Vicon is a methodology to how we can handle when we've lost all optical tracking. And so our camera that we're using here, we've got a tracking object on front of it, on the top of it, sorry, where we're actually using active marker technology. But we also, this orange thing you can see here is an inertial measurement unit. And we're taking a live feed of this inertial measurement unit into Shōgun and then onwards into the game engine as an alternative tracking method. Now, of course, nothing's being blocked there, so it's just perfectly normal passive marker tracking, marker tracking. But what Connor's got in his hand is a nice t-shirt, and he's going to totally include all those markers, and now we have purely the IMU in operation, and there's a seamless transition from optical tracking to inertial tracking, so that when that hero camera is moving through that set and is being nicely tracked by the optical system, and it goes inside the cave, they're going to still get in tracking and still getting that in-camera VFX quality straight on the stage. So this has been in development for some time, and is looking for a launch about this summer. But yeah, we're pretty happy about that. So if you've got any questions about that, come and see us after. But I think that's about a wrap. Oh, sorry. Yes, the trick, the final trick. Can we swap to Shōgun on the main screen, please, gents? Now, what we've been doing all this time is Veronica's been wearing the markers just nicely and hasn't been taking them off in some fit of rage. But sometimes what can happen on a set, when you get into high impact martial arts or something where she's been rolling the floor, sometimes these markers can come off. And when those markers come off, typically you'll see motion capture systems start freaking out, like the hand starts going like this, or the motion capture just even stops. But what we're going to do now, we're going to just start taking some markers off, as if something's going wrong on set. But what I want you to kind of focus on is how the solver is still remaining perfectly in place. So I'm going to ask Veronica to keep some kind of motion going on. So you can see it's not some kind of trick, but it has, here we have Marissa taking off some markers. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should we just let her walk around with just that number now, please? There you go, have a walk around. You can see totally fine. Tracking as if everything is normal. That's because what Shōgun's doing in the backdrop there, it's going, I know there should be some markers, I can't see those markers, so what I'm going to do is going to use the information from all the other markers I can see to fill those gaps real time, live, without any blinking. So, should we take some more off? Okay, how have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm going to ask Veronica to maybe do one of the cool moves. maybe do the worm. Should we do the worm? Here we go. Worm with a third of the markers gone. Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. Let's do some more and finish on a backflip, maybe. Yeah? We're working you hard here tonight, Veronica. Working you hard. And you can see what we really worked on at Vicon and Shōgun is how this mesh isn't just about giving you a nice visualization. You can see all these red dots representing where those markers are missing. So your team on the mocap stage, if a marker does come off, they can know exactly where to put that marker back on. Okay, where are we? We have at least a third of the markers gone, and Veronica is going to do her last acrobatic move of the day. And it's still holding up just perfectly fine. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of the Vicon demonstration. Please do come and check out where the beer is tonight. That's obviously the most important matter, but equally if you want to have some questions about our motion capture gear, again, please come and find the Vicon staff. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy GDC.